We asked experienced cruisers what they regretted about their first cruise, and the answers were surprisingly honest. Some were practical, some were about mindset, and one regret came up again and again. It actually happens before you even step foot on a ship. But there's one thing that almost every experienced cruiser mentioned, and that's trying to do everything. The ship's daily schedule will be packed with activities, entertainment, dining options, and pull time between all the exciting ports of call you'll be visiting. It actually took us a few cruises to realize this, but you can't do it all. And trying to will leave you more exhausted than refreshed. This is a vacation. So we suggest you make a list of your must-do activities and attractions early in the cruise, then also build in time to just sit and stare at the ocean. Sounds boring until you're actually doing it. While you should definitely have a list of priorities, you also need to be flexible. There's real value in knowing what you want to do and booking those ahead of time, those dining reservations or those show times, and definitely those shore excursions in advance. Popular times and tours will often book up prior to your sailing, but you shouldn't build a schedule so rigid that a change in weather or a longer than expected line at the water slide ruins your day. Some of the best cruise moments are the unplanned ones. So it's definitely important to do your research ahead of time, but to also stay flexible. And of course, to help you with your research, we have tons of cruise review videos and cruise line roundup videos here on our channel to help you find the perfect ship and itinerary. Now, the next thing we heard from experienced cruisers time and time again isn't necessarily a regret or a mistake, it's more of a warning. Nearly everyone who weighed in on their first time cruise advice eventually says some version of the same thing. After your first cruise, you'll be hooked. The running joke in the cruise community is that the best cure for post-cruise blues is booking another cruise. Cruising seems to have a way of converting people, even those who may have thought cruising wasn't for them. The combination of waking up in a new destination almost every day, having everything taken care of for you, and being surrounded by the ocean has an effect that's hard to describe until you've experienced it for yourself. That's even more true today than when we started cruising almost 2 decades ago. There's a vast variety of different ships, unique itineraries, and different styles of cruising that there's really a cruise for everyone. Now, if you're new here, I'm Don from Eat Sleep Cruise, and Heidi and I have been on over 100 cruises with 15 different cruise lines, and we built this community of like-minded cruisers to help you stay one step ahead of everyone else on board. Now, let's talk about some of those regrets that can actually cost you time, money, or even your entire vacation. Perhaps one of the biggest mistakes first-time cruisers can make is trying to fly on embarkation day. And to be honest, on our first cruise, we made this mistake. This is one of the most repeated pieces of advice we received, and we echo it wholeheartedly. Flights can get delayed or canceled, especially recently with everything going on with TSA, and connections get missed. The ship will not wait for you. Flying in the day before takes all that stress off the table and lets you start your vacation relaxed rather than frantic. Book a hotel near the cruise port, grab a nice dinner, and wake up ready to cruise. A stress-free embarkation day sets the tone for the whole voyage. And this next one is something that many first-time cruisers don't technically need, but experienced cruisers say you should absolutely have: a passport. Technically, closed-loop cruises departing and returning to the same US port will allow you to travel with just a birth certificate and a government-issued ID. This means that you technically can cruise from Florida to the Bahamas and the Caribbean without a passport. But life happens. Medical emergencies, missed ports, unexpected situations. Having a passport gives you options. It's one of those things where it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. While it might not be the most exciting task, reading the cruise contract before you sail is something that most first-time cruisers don't even think about, but it might be one of the most important. Understanding the cancellation policy and the refund terms, what the cruise line is and isn't responsible for, and your rights as a passenger is always better to know before something goes wrong than after. We'll also explain what happens if the cruise line changes your itinerary and what's covered and what's not. A few minutes of reading it now save a lot of frustration later, especially since many cruise lines offer different fare categories with refundable rates, non-refundable rates. Some cruise fares, like Virgin Voyages for example, allow changes while other cruise fare rates do not. So read that cruise contract carefully before you submit any payments. Now listen, we get it. If you're starting to feel a little overwhelmed planning your first cruise, we completely understand. And that's why we created our free Ultimate Cruise Planning Guide, which was just updated for 2026. It actually walks you step by step through every decision you need to make in the right order so you can plan with confidence and go from booking to being on board. It also includes printable checklists, a budget worksheet, and cruise packing guides to help you keep organized. So scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description and download your completely free copy right now. Now, part of that planning guide is insider information on what you need to pack. And many experienced cruisers told us that they regretted not packing over-the-counter medications even if they've never had any issues with motion sickness. While cruise ship captains do their very best to avoid rough seas, sometimes a little rocking is unavoidable. And even if you've never gotten motion sick before, being out on open water can affect everyone differently. So toss some Dramamine, Bonine, or our family prefers Sea-Bands in your bag just in case. You won't want seasickness to ruin your first cruise. Cruisers also swear by eating green apples and ginger as natural remedies. Now let's talk about something that can cost you money before you even realize it. Whether you purchase the cruise line's internet or not, turn on airplane mode on your phone the moment you board the ship. Cellular roaming charges at sea are no joke. We've heard stories of people coming home to hundreds of dollars in surprise charges. Even if you purchased a Wi-Fi package, you can still use it while your phone is in airplane mode. You can also still use the cruise line's app. The only time you should take your phone off of airplane mode is while docked at a port of call, and you should only do that if you have international coverage. So check with your cell phone carrier before leaving to ensure you don't get any roaming charges while ashore. We appreciate those travelers who can pack for a week-long cruise in carry-on only, but Heidi and I are definitely not those people. And apparently, many of the experienced cruisers who offered advice also travel with checked luggage. Now, we recommend you take your checked luggage and leave those with the porters at the cruise terminal, but this doesn't mean you shouldn't bring a carry-on bag. In fact, we always bring a well-stocked carry-on, and experienced cruisers recommend first-timers do the same. Your checked luggage won't arrive in your stateroom till later in the afternoon, sometimes not until after the muster drill or even dinner. That's why you should always bring a carry-on packed with the essentials that contains important documents, medication, your swimsuit if you want to hit the pool right away, your cell phone chargers or any additional technology like cameras or laptops, and anything else you might need in those first several hours. It's good to have a change of clothes and a few toiletries too, just in case you want to freshen up before your suitcases arrive. Cruise embarkation day is one of the most exciting days of your trip, but sometimes first-timers don't know where to start. In fact, we have a cruise boarding day video that we just put out here on YouTube with the 13 smart things every cruiser should do, which we link to down in the description. But the number one piece of advice we got from experienced cruisers is to walk the ship on day one. Before you fully settle into vacation mode, take some time to physically explore the ship. Now, if you're like us, you've probably been combing those deck plans and reviewing online websites and reviews, but now you're actually there. Find the dining venues in the theater. Locate your muster station. Discover the hidden deck spaces and which bar you want to visit first. If you have assigned dining, it's also helpful to locate your table number. Ships are bigger than they look, and actually, they're getting bigger every year. And getting your bearings early saves a lot of confusion later. Now, the cruise line's app is essential here. In fact, before your cruise, you should have downloaded your cruise line's app to review those online deck plans, make your reservations, as well as book any shore excursions, as well as to complete your online check-in. That way you can bypass the lines at the terminal and walk right on the ship. But honestly, this also brings up another mistake first-time cruisers don't usually realize until it's too late, and that's picking the wrong cruise line or wrong ship for their travel style. And that's where a good travel advisor can make all the difference. Now, Heidi and I are not travel advisors, and that's why we partner with MEI Travel. We love working with our personal cruise consultant, Blair, who navigates all the options to find the ideal cruise line, ship, and itinerary while making sure we get the best available price and take advantage of any promotions or inclusions. So if you haven't booked that first cruise yet, scan the QR code on screen or click our exclusive link down in the description to start planning your next great adventure. Now, almost every experienced cruiser admits that their first cruise bag was way too heavy and filled with items they never used. Quite honestly, I could say the same is still true for our luggage today. Here's the secret. No one notices if you wear the same outfit twice. The ship is full of strangers, the vibe is relaxed, and your fellow passengers are far too busy enjoying vacation than cataloging your wardrobe. Pack less than you think you need, and you'll be glad you did. The key to success is packing items that are multi-purpose and can be mixed and matched easily. The same could be true about knowing your cruise line's restrictions on what you can actually pack. While many of the restrictions might seem obvious, like there's no weapons, no illegal drugs, others may be surprising to you. While you think it's a good idea to pack a travel iron or a steamer to keep your evening attire wrinkle-free, most cruise lines prohibit them for fire safety reasons. If you do pack one, it will get confiscated and your luggage will be delayed getting to your room. Most cruise ships do offer laundry and pressing services, or you can try wrinkle release sprays. Now here's an insider tip. While most cruise lines don't allow you to bring any liquor or beer on board, most cruise lines do allow you to bring 2 750 milliliter bottles of wine or champagne in your carry-on luggage during embarkation day. So if you want to celebrate something special with a nice bottle of wine, or you're just looking to reduce your overall bar tab, this is one easy way to do it. But just keep in mind, it has to be in your carry-on, not in your checked luggage. In your checked luggage, it will be confiscated. Scroll through any Facebook group or YouTube channel, and you'll find endless lists of must-have cruise gadgets. Magnetic hooks, over-the-door organizers, lanyards, towel clips, night lights, the list goes on. And some are genuinely useful, and we use many of those items actually on every single cruise, but many, sadly, are not. Keep it simple for your first cruise, and you'll quickly learn what you actually want for your next sailing. Personally, we still use items like a cruise-approved power adapter, magnetic hooks, and an over-the-door shoe organizer to keep our cabin organized. But even those items that are essential for some might end up being a complete waste of space for you. There's just something about sunrises at sea that are completely different. Now, this is one of those first-time cruise tips that might sound a bit cliche until you actually do it. In the early morning, the ship is quiet, the sky is extraordinary, and you have the deck almost entirely to yourself. Even better, you're sipping coffee on your balcony, watching the sun climb out of the horizon, while everyone else is still asleep. And while sunsets might get all the attention, you won't regret setting your alarm one morning to witness a sunrise at sea. In fact, it's a cruise tradition for many. On the last night of your cruise, you'll set your luggage outside your cabin door to be collected. It'll be waiting for you in the terminal the next morning. This means that anything you need before getting off the ship, medications, next day outfits, toiletries, travel documents, need to be in a bag you keep with you. Now this might sound obvious until you're disembarking the ship in your pajamas. The main dining room is a classic cruise experience and worth enjoying, but it's totally fine to eat at the buffet or a casual venue on some nights. Maybe you had a long port day, maybe you're sunburned and tired, or maybe you just want to grab a quick bite without getting dressed up. And that's completely valid. It's your vacation after all. And most cruise ships have a variety of dining to fit your mood, so there's no reason to feel forced into a dinner routine. But skipping the main dining room entirely, that's something we would never recommend. Plan at least a couple of dinners there during your cruise for exquisite service and a more relaxed, refined atmosphere. Regardless of the amount of research and planning you've done, one thing you need to do when taking a cruise is have an open mind. This is another one that sounds almost too simple, but it's true. You should go into your cruise vacation with an open mind rather than a complete checklist of things that need to happen for the trip to be good. Sometimes scouring message boards, blogs, and watching vlogs can result in unrealistic expectations, which can then lead to disappointment if your experience doesn't live up to what you've actually seen on social media. Of course, it's important to be informed, but don't let others tell you what your first cruise experience should look like. Get on board, have fun, do what you want, and don't worry, you'll never see these people ever again. And if you do make some mistakes or something doesn't go right, don't sweat it. Did you accidentally show up at the wrong dining venue for dinner or at the wrong time? Did you forget what cabin your deck is on? Or did you walk down one hallway only to realize your cabin's in the other direction? Did you walk around multiple times to try to find a theater? Or did you forget to reserve one of the showtimes and got stuck with standing room only? Did you try to pay at the bar with your credit card or cash? The list of simple, small cruise mistakes we've all made in the past is completely endless. But you know what? None of it matters. These things happen to almost everyone, and sometimes they turn into funny stories you tell for years, and sometimes completely forget about them until years later someone reminds you. But regardless, don't worry about the small stuff. Focus on the big moments, the deck parties, the fantastic dining, the explorations ashore. Those are the memories that make cruising one of the best vacation values and why so many experienced cruisers, like us, continue to sail for years. Now that you're armed with the insider knowledge of what not to do on your first cruise, we need to find you the perfect ship. So click or tap on our brand new look at the best new cruise ships of 2026. With ships from major cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Princess Cruises, Celebrity Cruises, Disney Cruise Line, and more, there's bound to be an ideal ship for you, so your first cruise is smooth sailing.